Hi, first graders. Welcome back to session 3 of the 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins by Dr. Seuss, published by Random House, New York. Yesterday, or the last session, session 2, that we read, one of the main characters, King Derwin, tried to solve the problem of how to take off Bartholomew's hats by asking several people for help. Remember Sir Snips, the hat maker, could not take off Bartholomew's hat. And the wise men could not take off Bartholomew's hat. And the Archduke Wilfrid, or the Grand Duke Wilfrid rather, nephew of the king, could not take off Bartholomew's hat. And finally, the yeoman of the bowmen, with his huge bow and arrow, could not take off Bartholomew's hat. And remember what the yeoman of the bowmen said? When he shot the arrow through the hat, he said, "It's black magic!" when there was another hat sitting on top of Bartholomew's hat. And here is where we begin today. Black magic! That's just what it is, sighed the king with relief. I should have thought of that before. That makes things simple. Back to the throne room. Call my magicians. In the whole throne room, there wasn't a sound as loud as a breath, but from the spiral stairs that led down from the southwest tower came the shuffling of slow, padded feet. The magicians were coming. Low and slow, they were chanting words that were strange. Dig a hole 5 furlongs deep, down to where the night snakes creep, mix and mold the mystic mud, Malber, Balber, Titter, Tud. In came 7 black-gowned magicians, and beside each one stalked a lean black cat. They circled around Bartholomew Cubbins, muttering deep and mysterious sounds. Stop this useless muttering, ordered the king. I want a chant that will charm away this boy's hat. The magicians huddled over Bartholomew and chanted, Winkabus, Tinkabus, Fadachi clay, hat on this demon's head, fly far away. Howl, men, howl away, howl away, howl away, yowl, cats, yowl away, yowl away, yowl away. Hat on this demon's head, seep away, creep away, leap away, gleep away, never come back. A mighty good chant, said the king, looking very pleased. Are you sure it will work? All the magicians nodded together. But, said the king, looking puzzled, there still seems to be a hat upon his head. How long will it take for the charm to work? Be calm, O sire, and have no fears, chanted the magicians. Our charm will work in 10 short years. 10 years? Gasped the king. Away, fools, he shouted. Out of my sight. I can't wait 10 years to get rid of this hat. Oh dear, what can I do? What can I do? If I were king, whispered the Grand Duke Wilfrid, I'd chop off his head. Young man, he said to Bartholomew, a dreadful thought, said the king, biting his lip. But I'm afraid I'll have to do it. Young man, he said to Bartholomew Cubbins, and he pointed to a small door at the end of the room. March down those steps to the dungeon and tell the executioner to chop off your head. Bartholomew's heart sank into his boots, but he did as the king commanded. I must take off my hat, he said to himself as he started down the long black stairway. This is my last chance. One hat after another he tore from his head. 156, 157, 158. It grew colder and damper. 217, 218, 219. Down, down, down. 231, 232, 233. It seemed to Bartholomew he must be in the very heart of the mountain. "Who's there?" said a voice from the blackness. Bartholomew turned a corner and stepped into the dungeon. And look at the executioner with that big axe. Do you think he will be able to chop off Bartholomew's head? Let's find out. The executioner was whistling and swinging his axe idly because at the moment he had nothing to do. In spite of his business, he really seemed to be a very pleasant man. "The king says you must chop off my head," said Bartholomew. "Oh, I'd hate to," said the executioner, looking at him with a friendly smile. "You seem like such a nice boy." "Well, the king says you have to," said Bartholomew, "so please get it over with." "All right," sighed the executioner, "but first you've got to take off your hat." "Why?" asked Bartholomew. "I don't know," said the executioner, "but it's one of the rules. I can't execute anyone with his hat on." That could be a problem for the executioner. But I think it's a good thing for Bartholomew. Don't you agree? "All right," said Bartholomew. "You take it off for me." The executioner leaned across the chopping block and flipped off Bartholomew's hat. "What's this?" he gasped, blinking through the holes in his mask as another hat sat on Bartholomew's head. He flipped this one off, then another, and another. "Fiddlesticks," grunted the executioner, throwing his axe on the floor. "I can't execute you at all." And he shook hands with Bartholomew and sent him back upstairs to the king. So why couldn't the executioner chop off Bartholomew's head? Can you turn and talk to the person next to you and tell them why? Yes, you're right, because the rule was you had to take off your hat before they could chop off your head. The king had been taking a nap on the throne. "What are you doing back here?" he said to Bartholomew, angry at being awakened. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty," explained Bartholomew. "My head can't come off with my hat on. It's against the rules." "So it can't," said the king, leaning back wearily. "Now how many hats does that make altogether?" "The executioner knocked off 13, and I left 178 more on the dungeon steps," answered Bartholomew. 346 hats, mumbled Sir Alaric from behind his scroll. "Uncle Derwin," yawned the Grand Duke Wilfrid, "I suppose all have to do away with him. Send him up to the highest turret, and I in person will push him off." "Wilfrid, I'm surprised at you," said the king. "But I guess it's a good idea." So the king and the Grand Duke led Bartholomew Cubbins toward the highest turret. Up and up and up the turret stairs he climbed behind them. "This is my very last chance," thought Bartholomew. He snatched off his hat. 347. He snatched off another. He pulled and he tore and he flung them behind him. 398. 399. His arms ached from pulling off hats. But still the hats came. Bartholomew climbed on. 448, 449, 450, counted Sir Alaric, puffing up the stairs behind him. And this is where we're going to stop for the third session. So, still, the problem has not been solved. What do you think is going to happen when they climb up to the highest turret? Remember, the plan is for the Grand Duke Wilfrid to push Bartholomew off the turret. What do you think is going to happen when they get up there? Do you think Sir Wilfrid or Grand Duke Wilfrid will be able to push him off? Do you think that will solve the problem of getting rid of Bartholomew's hats? Turn and tell somebody what you think. See you next time.